Okay, so I have the cam is installed into the onto the top of the head. So the easiest or the only way that I've found to do this is there is two screws. Excuse my hand there. That hold this sprocket on. One in the top and there's one in the bottom. Those have to come out in order to allow you to pull that sprocket and let it fall down only a quarter of an inch or less. That allows you the space you need to get the chain on, number one, and to get the cam in and out, because I was not able to find a way to get the cam on and off with these bolts installed. So anyway, I took them out, and of course it's at top dead center right now on the in the cylinder, and this thing the sprocket has two marks. I'll try to get zoomed in on them. There's one of them right there, and then there's one on the other side over here, and they line up with the deck surface of the head, which is typical for just about any overhead cam setup. So I'm gonna get some blue Loctite and put on these two bolts and get them installed, and then I'll jump back in here and kind of show you quickly how I get the tensioner in there by the timing chain. Okay, so I am ready to install the timing chain tensioner. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on this. There's a channel, I believe it's Pillow Chomper, done a really good video on how to install this timing chain tensioner. The short gist of it is this thing is spring loaded. It's got a spring on it, and you just put it in a vise and squeeze it and throw a zip tie around it, and you want what I call the head of the zip tie to be on the back side, the back side of the tensioner, which would be toward the inside of the cylinder head or the cover. And basically just pushing it down in there. Okay, so I was correct. I just had to put this tensioner in a vise and cinch it up a little tighter. It goes right down in there. Then I just push the pin in. It's got a little O-ring on it. You push it all the way through, and you turn it. Is it clockwise? Yeah, this thing has like a Sprague clutch in it. It only turns one way. So you turn it clockwise until you see your hole line up. For the bolt that goes down in there. It looks like this, and it just threads right down in this hole like that, and locks that in place. And then to get the zip tie out, you have a couple of options. Some people just use a sharp chisel to go down there and cut it out. You can also heat up a soldering iron and melt it in two, and then you've got a tip there, you can just pull it out. So that's the timing chain installed. You can see the marks are lined up with the deck surface, and then once I get this timing chain done and tensioned, then I will spin it over and get this last bolt that's on the bottom side of that sprocket. So I haven't done it yet. So we didn't want to turn it over until I got the tension on the chain, because that'd throw everything out. So I'll do that and get that last, it's laying right there. I'll do that and get the last bolt in there, and then we'll start putting this dreaded cover on. It's so hard to get in there. But anyway, stay tuned. Okay, so I have the valve cover ready to go on. Got the new gasket on there. Got the bearing surfaces lubed up with grease, and so this is going to be take one for putting this thing on. I may or may not get it on there because it's tough. Got the throttle, the carburetor is kind of loose, so I have to pull it all the way back. You come in at a steep angle here. Okay, now this is half of the battle. See if I can get it. Look at there. There it is. Okay. I left these guide pins out because they just get in your way trying to put this thing in. So I'm going to have to lift this up. One of them goes right there, and the other one goes on the other side, kind of opposite of this. Okay, I'll go put the one on the other side. Okay, so now all that's left is putting the, I believe they're either 10 or 8 millimeter bolts that were in here. There's one 10, but the rest of them were 8. Put them in, torque them down, starting from the center, working your way out, and they will go to 89 inch-pounds is the torque sequence on those, or the torque pounding. And then this is an oil feeder line that goes here. Another bolt goes down through there to the cylinder head, and that's, and of course put your new O-rings and caps back on these. I'll check the valve lash once I get everything tightened down. Anyways, I'll bring you guys back in on the next segment of this. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up this video right quick. I have the valve cover bolted back on. I adjusted the valves. They were way too tight, and I was glad I checked them. Got those adjusted, got all these bolts torqued down. Like I said, they was 89 or 90 inch-pounds. That's what I went down, put them on. Then finished up the exhaust. It has 4 bolts up here, 2 here, and yeah, and then just put the gas tank on it. It's not bolted down yet, but it's pretty easy to put on. One bolt there, and then it slides off. So yeah, put a hot battery on it. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to call this one the end of this video.